Hey everybody, this is Peter Palmiotti, and I'm here today to work on retro. Um, and I figured I'd say hello first. I had to restart my computer. Sorry for the delay. So this is Comics and Art, episode 15, Side Hustle. Beginning into that. Let's just switch up and show you what I'm working on. Um, so yeah, this double page spread. I'll work on this side a little bit. So something has developed recently. And it's actually talked with somebody a while back, and we've been in touch. And it looks like it's greenlit. So it's kind of pretty much a day job, except it will be evenings. Those that have been following me forever know that I was engaged for a while, and while I was engaged, I worked a couple of times at a restaurant in town, and I really I liked everybody that worked there. But I guess I was like mostly friends with the main cook that worked there, and he's sort of starting a new business that I'll be joining him on come this weekend. So maybe Friday, we'll see. But it looks like everything is greenlit and moving forward. And yeah, I mean that's going to help immensely in regards to me really getting on track with everything I need to get together and want to get started. Um, you know, it's just been a rocky road for a while now. Last year was really excellent until it wasn't. And I'm just juggling too much and not bringing enough money in, and really, need financing for a number of things going forward. So this will be a game changer, as they say. Now, mind you, it's not a solid business in place, and sorry, getting distracted by outside noises. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an adventure, and I'll be working evenings. It'll be like sort of a short evening, so not a full day. Um, Around 5 hours, give or take. But I'll be working every day. So I'll know more as we go and what it all works out to be. But uh, I think pretty much the direct result initially here and online is that I'll probably just make videos and upload them on my progress of retro. But I'll probably take a week off initially, so that I can really start scheduling the three projects I'm on, which is retro, the graphic novel, and the next issue of Hawk of New York. So that I'm making progress in all those, and I got another project I'll talk about at a later date, but gotta get that rolling. But at least I won't have to worry about making moolah initially, because this will cover expenses. And yeah, so really looking forward. Making comics is an adventure. Hey, Frank, what's up? What you working on? So yeah, I've acquired a ton of bills in recent months. COVID hasn't helped. Because of that, like one of the best paying gigs I had was folded. So rather than rely on freelance or taking on a million commissions, um, I'll be just focused on my projects, moving them forward, and yeah, it's going to be much better. So yeah, I think what I'll do is upload for a while. I'll let a week pass where I won't do anything on YouTube. But I'm going to post art on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, so you can check me out there. I'll just get real organized, and yeah, the sort of day job in quotes will be my side hustle. But at least the money it will bring in will get me straight, cover my bills, take care of my past bills. If it goes long term, I will be super excited, because then I can start really financing the many books after retro that I have planned. And really what it comes down to is I'm a lot less productive when I'm stressed about finances. And yeah, it's been a real pain in the ass lately. Worried about my next dollar and trying to move my projects forward. So this will be a great relief. Frank says, I finished the strip. Now I'm trying to figure out the dialogue. I misplaced my glasses, so I'm blind at the moment. I hear you, man. I'm not blind without my glasses, but, I do need them for the detail of the work I do. I totally get you. Yeah, so, um, I mean, it's kind of anything can happen, and it's a new business venture that my friend's starting, but worst case scenario, I could see it going for a couple of months. Of course, I wish this new career path for him to really take hold and work for him. That would mean, because he was the top cook at the restaurant I worked at, and he pretty much worked 7 days a week, so that's not different. But he'll be working a lot less hours and be able to spend time with his wife and kids a lot more time. So, and because of COVID and all that, we'll definitely take all the precautions necessary, and he's going to provide me with gloves and mask and everything, because we'll be venturing out into the world. But I'm excited. Excited. I really didn't want to take on another inking project. I was leaning towards doing commission work, but I don't like to tally up too many commissions, so that wasn't going to work. This will really put me on track. So yeah, like I said, my side hustle would be my day job, and then I can just work very free on my projects, move them forward, and really, like, it won't cut into my workday at all. Um, though, it will change up my schedule somewhat. Because we'll be dealing with the evening feeding crowd. Um, which should definitely be interesting. So as long as I'm productive during the day, and I like to start my day early, and if I have, as long as I have a gap between when I finish my day technically, and then I can relax and maybe eat dinner myself, and then start the work day. Then I figure I still have plenty of time to come home afterwards and relax some more before going to sleep. So then I'll be able to get inking work done, work on my business side of things, pay off bills, eventually pour some money into things I got to do online and whatnot. I'm really just focused on making books and growing my business. So I'm excited. Anybody who works freelance knows what I'm talking about. Like, everything has a tendency to be unpredictable and a risk to a certain extent. And if I can, kind of rely on what is essentially will be a weekly income, then I don't have to sweat the small stuff anymore. Because, without putting myself out there for more work, it was kind of looking bleak as to, how I'm going to handle the current scenario. And there's just like, more and more things I want to do, but, now I could finally dream again. It will probably delay things a little bit. So, I think it's conservative to say that by the fall, definitely by the winter, I'll be able to push a lot forward. Obviously, I have obligations with paying gigs. But I'll be able to get Retro Issue 1 out to those that supported me on Kickstarter. And that's really the number one objective. And once I do that, secure that, then I could really start planning out other number of books I want to get done and out there. I got a sketchbook I want to do this year that I'm thinking might be a full color sketchbook, because it's not going to be your average sketchbook. Not to say it's going to be super popular, but it's something I just want to do. And it's been, I've been in the industry for so long and I never had a sketchbook, so I guess I'm making the first one kind of unique. But obviously I'm not worried about that right now. I want to get the first issue of Retro done and out in the hands of the Kickstarter supporters. I got a number of short stories to do, one of which is Retro Zero. For those that contributed to me getting a digital tablet. And, once some finances are taken care of and I'm caught up on work a little bit, I'll be working on that Retro Zero story, as well as a backup story for Arena, which is another book I got to get out. And that will be a great day when I have Retro out and Arena out. And my sketchbook. What else? Just so much. Obviously, like, graphic novel is not on my schedule. And, Randy Bishop will get the next issue of Hawk in New York out on his schedule. But I think he wants to dig into it next month. So we'll really get that going. So, fingers crossed, by the end of the year, I'll have a number of books out. 2020 is not going to be the year I would have hoped it to be, but, I think anybody who survives this year deserves a medal. And, I think I've just come upon my solution for the time being. And we'll see how it goes, it might just be the sort of combination I need in my life, because, anybody who's an artist for a living knows that sitting around drawing all day doesn't exactly, make you healthier. So I need a bit of physicality in my life. So, and there will be adjustment when I first start getting a handle on the schedule, getting accustomed to what I need to do. I'm sure my body will adjust to it. Pretty much like when I worked for the restaurant, it took some time. But, it's like the difference is that when I worked at the restaurant, it was good money. And it was it was 6 days a week. But it was 12-hour days. And it was just like very physical. And I was freaking exhausted at the end of the day. The only sort of free time I had was in the early morning, because pretty much I would get home late at night. And too tired to do anything. But with this, roughly start to finish would be 5 hours. And that's just like having an extra part-time job. It might just be the perfect schedule. We shall see. I can maybe dream about renting a home in the future. Now, mind you, while it will definitely help financially, to make a bigger move in my life, I'm gonna need to make a lot more money. But if I get a bunch of books out and start, selling stuff on a regular basis, it's a possibility. Hey, Russ, welcome, welcome. What you working on? I'm working on retro. Retro. So since you didn't catch the beginning, I got like a part-time job coming up. Should start this weekend, and I'll be able to essentially handle my schedule better. Pencils on your book. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, that means I'm going to change things up a little bit. I'm going to not post anything for a while here until I really get a handle on my schedule upcoming. And while I was just opening up my other channel for interviews and stuff, the next one isn't scheduled yet. Jason Webb, one of my moderators, is scheduling the next interview. So when he gets back to me, or I might have to poke him, see when that's happening. I keep my schedule light. This just allows me to really have the schedule I want and need to get my books done. I like things going at an even keel. Be productive, get stuff done on the book, get stuff done in production, get some more writing done, work on my penciling. There's just a lot I want to cover. So I'm kind of super excited. Cool, regular pay, exactly. I won't have to. I could actually plan out my bills and won't have to fret about getting things covered. It's like I've been. I guess I've been avoiding working for any of the bigger independent companies because I didn't want to adjust to their schedule. I'm an anchor who likes to take their time because I'm fussy. So this will allow me the best of both worlds. And allow me to make Retro the book I want it to be. So I did touch base with Marshall Lee, who's going to be coloring this issue. And possibly the book. We haven't really talked deeply, but yeah, he's got his day job, and life has been crazy for him lately. But uh, we're also working on another book, Big Wrath, and I'll be able to get started on that. And as we make more and more progress on that, we can really see when it's going to pan out realistically. So I just been sort of trying to catch up on my video list lately. There's more and more things I want to watch and check out, whatever other people are up to. It seems like an impossible list. I gave up trying to watch Jeff's show, Jeff Lafferty. Although I do catch it live when I'm on it. Although with my new schedule, this might put a dent in going on his show. We shall see. But, it's not like he's asking me to be on the show every day. It seems like it's once a week at this point. But I want to catch up on, Marshall made a couple of videos recently, of which Frank was on. So it's weird. Okay, so this 2-page spread and one, maybe 2 other pages are blue line. And I could swear I had all the pencils, pencil files of every page of the issue. Though I looked for it the other day and couldn't find it. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to just go by what I see here, which the blue line is like, you can't really tell on camera, but it's kind of really light. Or maybe you can tell on camera. So it's a lot more guesswork than I'm comfortable with, but I will look for it again. Because Rich Fisher, the penciler, his pencils for the first 20 pages are kind of tight. There's a little looseness to this double page spread, which is open for interpretation, which I don't mind. But mostly it's tight, tight work. So I want to keep true to what he put down. You know, it's funny, but like the last 8 pages, give or take, are more recent work of his, and they're almost entirely different to a certain degree. But I don't mind. I think it will enhance the experience. And it's going to be challenging to work on those pages. One, because his pencil is not being so tight, there's actually more cross-hatching, but there's also a lot of smudging going on. And for me to interpret it ink-wise, I'm not going to do washes. I'm just going to do line work. Should be really interesting. But I'm pretty good with, you know, turning smudges into line work. I almost want to jump on one of those pages, but I'll wait. I'll wait till I catch up to there. I'm just really excited to get this book really moving forward and really taking shape. I'm already working on story ideas for what's next and the coming issues. And it's like every little thing that I add to Retro Story is adding to sort of my superhero universe of characters. And I think it's interesting. since I'm the only one experiencing it at this point in time. So, Salazar Art Nation says it was 4 times a month for me. I guess getting paid. Um, Retro is looking good. Thank you, sir. I'm happy with it thus far. And he says, just found my glasses I can see without squinting now. Awesome. Hey, you don't want to, you don't want to overdo your eyesight by squinting. Man, there's some people you can't hear, but some people with some loud trucks and cars around here. Either that or there's a muffler shortage going on that I'm not aware of. It's bad enough, like, it's becoming summer and everybody's going to start mowing their lawn every other day. Man, it's like I love it. I'm not necessarily country, but everybody's got a lawn around here. And it just seems like once we hit July, every day somebody's cutting their lawn, and it's like, I've cut lawn. I don't have to do it here where I am, but and I totally get that you want to ride around on a thing that cuts the lawn, because doing it by hand would take forever and wreck your body. But I wish there was such a thing as a silent lawnmower. I think the person that patents that would be a millionaire, possibly a billionaire. Maybe I should come up with that solution. I know there's things I wanted to talk about. I don't know. Just sort of having one of those days where I'm just feeling chill right now and getting some inking in and hang out with friends while also working. One day when I can really afford it, I want to open a studio where I'll work with other people. There's nothing like a studio environment. It doesn't even have to be like them working on my books, but just other artists surrounding you is freaking inspiring. I've had that a number of times in my life, and um, I do know there's like a couple of people that aspire to making comics in town, but you know, the ones I know are like going to school. It's like the small town I'm at, and like the biggest business is Amazon, which is Amazon Fulfillment Center. Um, the biggest business for the town, I guess, is the university, the college, which isn't really focused on art, but I think it's more focused on medical, wanting to get into nursing or become a doctor, or that sort of thing. It's a lot of different things. If it was more focused on art, I would have looked into showing up there, doing some courses or something. I did that back in the day when I was in New York. Went to Princeton once, out in New Jersey. Some other schools, smallest school in Manhattan, and just speak and show off what I do and say, if you're interested in comics, you can do this, this, and this, or this is how I make comics, or all sorts of questions from the kids, and it's always fun. Electric mower. Oh, okay. Salazar Art Nation said, no, I meant being on Jeff's show. I was on 4 times this month. Yeah. That's awesome. So do you learn from hanging out with Jeff and Gibran? Or is it just a fun experience? I know, like, my experience doing that, and I've done hangouts on my channel in the past, and private hangouts where you can like really open up about anything, and not worry about it being public file. um, if anything, like the time goes by really, really fast. Um, and that's the most amazing aspect, is like all of a sudden you look up and hours flew by, and you just hang out, working, chatting with friends who are pretty much doing the same thing. That's the kind of work environment I love and thrive on. It's like I love working at home, but I also want the option of working in a studio where others are working. It's like I know if I had that option, I would choose not to go a lot of the time, but there's those days where you want to be around other people doing the same thing. And I mean, there's definitely examples in the comic industry of highly successful studios that worked and really made careers of everybody involved. And in a small way, like the YouTube Hangouts and other places, like are exactly that. It's like, getting out there in public and working on your books and chatting about the business and other comics and movies for that matter or whatever. Let's get a lot more done. People see you're productive and see your work improve, and they take notice. I know, like, for a fact, I'm happy to be back at this on YouTube, working on my own project, making progress. You know, seeing the people who are like truly following me. It's all magic. So the rest goes retro mower. There you go. I'll paint a little picture of a retro mowing grass on the side of the actual mower. I'll make billions. And Frank goes, "Yeah, it's fun just talking about almost anything in drawing. I've learned a lot too. Just getting an inside look of the biz." Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some really excellent people in this industry. And I've met a whole different class of people while on YouTube. You know, back before then, um, back before 2012, I worked in obscurity on a lot of independent comics. Um, just me, myself, and I in the studio, and you know, back in when I was working for Marvel, DC, and Valiant, and Image, kind of, sort of. Back in the '90s, um, you know, that's when my phone bill was ridiculous. I kept in touch only by phone. Well, that and conventions. Um, and even though internet isn't exactly cheap and phones aren't exactly cheap, and um, uh, it is kind of cheaper now to connect. And with technology the way it's gone, there's so many more ways to connect, and Hangouts is just one of them. Live streaming, whatever you call it. And Zoom is big, and so many options. Once I get like my line of books really moving forward, I'm gonna do Hangouts with my creative crew, and maybe by then I could afford some like production people and assistants that could set the stuff up for me. So I could just focus on being creative, writing and drawing and inking, and I even want to do coloring eventually. But yeah, I mean, like so many amazing studios. Like there was that book, The Studio, which was Bernie Wrightson, Jeff Jones, Mike Luter, and Barry Smith back in the day. That book has always been an inspiration. And, I used to live in New York. I grew up in New York. When I left New York to come to Kentucky, I gave away everything, including that book. But I'll find it one day again and buy it because it's just a work of art. But there's, what was it called? Gaijin Studios, which was Dave Johnson, Brian Stelfreeze. It was a whole bunch, maybe Call Story, I forget. Whole bunch of artists, and every one of them was freaking fantastic. I think they did some projects together, but I don't know if they have like the Art of Gaijin Studios book or something. But those guys are freaking amazing. Russ is laughing. You laughing at me? That's the thing with comments in the chat is like I don't know exactly when they pop up since I'm trying to focus on getting work done, but I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate you hanging out with me and working along with me. It's definitely awesome. And everybody after that watches the video, which is more people than watch it live, but that's cool. One day I'll have an audience like 100 people watching. You'll see. But yeah, I would love to sort of run a studio where it'll be like totally regulars and then lots of random people just show up. I had that back when I was assisting my brother, and we'd actually work at what was his day job back then. He was a photo retoucher. Back in the day, he actually, in the same building, they had the contract at that time to work on Clint Eastwood movie posters. There's another company that was a couple of floors down from where he was working. And because, we both grew up watching and loving anything Clint Eastwood, he actually got the opportunity to do some photo retouching on those posters, and at the time it was like the black and white Enforcer posters that he worked on. So I always thought that was cool. Love me some Clint Eastwood. Almost everything he's done. There's movies I haven't seen yet, but I've seen the majority. He is one cool cat. But man, okay, so I watched a movie the other night. Let's see, what's his name? Brent Ellis Easton or something like that was a novelist, and he wrote a book. It was it Absolute Zero or something Zero, and they made it into a movie. All I remember at the moment, because I only saw it once, and it was when it came out decade ago or whatever. Robert Downey Jr. was in it, and it was like, kids and some messed up things that went down or whatever, or how they lived their lives and so forth. Anyway, apparently they made another movie based off one of his novels that I never knew about. What was it called? The Rules of Attraction, which was basically about a group of kids in college and their friendships and their relationships and how they all want to get laid. And but it's a pretty messed up story movie. And I watched that last night. I was like, oh my God, this is great and scary and wonderful all at the same time. Jennifer Beal, Dawson's Creek, the actor's name, I forget. It was really good. And it's told in such a weird way. It's actually part of the story, in a sense. I thought it was really good. I was looking for something artsy, a little artsy, something highly entertaining. You never know. It's like random movie could have actors you love in it and a story you think you like, but you never know until you sit down and watch it. I really liked it. The Rules of Attraction. Less than zero. There you go. Oh, okay. going back in the chat. Russ was doing some evil laugh for world domination. And Salazar says, studio like the old days of comics. The Hangouts and live streams are the modern bullpens. But you can't rifle through people's work areas. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I had the pleasure of actually working in the actual Marvel bullpen back in the 90s. And they don't have inkers there. I mean, they have artists, but the artists there are mostly doing retouches and final adjustments to art. It's more like they have, anybody working there does a little bit of everything. It's mostly production. But I was working in the bullpen because they needed inks like ASAP, and for whatever reason, I was the one they called on because I would personally be the last guy I would call on for for something to be done ASAP. Um, but got a lot of X-Men books done that way. I was definitely part of a whole batch of X-Men whatnot. Um, I only worked in the bullpen a couple of times, but I had the pleasure of meeting Spider-Man as he was hosting a tour in Marvel offices one day. And I was like, "Oh, there's Spider-Man," and I was kind of laughing and trying to get my work done at the same time. It was totally like bizarre situation. And it's like I can't really engage. I got to get this page in ASAP. But this is wonderful. It's everything I dreamed, Marvel. And Russ says, "Love Clint." And Salazar says, "Robert Downey Jr. less than zero." Yeah. Yeah, it was sort of a great movie, effed up story. If you're into that sort of thing, and that's rules of attraction was pretty much the same flavor. Oh, and this is I'm not sure if it's Japanese or Chinese. Is an Asian movie. If you love zombie movies, um, and it's totally it's not dubbed; it's just subtitles. Um, but I think it's pronounced like Train to Busan. It's a freaking excellent movie. It's just real well told and fun, and it's zombies if you like zombies. Um, and it's creative, um, and different than your average bland zombie movie. Um, so they have a trailer for it's like Train to Busan 2 Peninsula, I think it's called. Um, I mean, it's like I don't think the movie's about people on a train now, but it takes after place after the first movie, and it looks just as fun. I think they had like zombie tumbleweeds, if you could imagine. So that's something to look forward to. Although, with the current global scenario, everything's getting pushed back. Everything was, well, some things were supposed to be opening in July, now they're August. Everything else afterwards is getting pushed back a month or even years at this point. But, comics are still coming out, and support indie comics and support comic stores and keep the comic industry thriving, and support your local creator or distant creator. Support everybody in the industry is what I'm saying. So after I get this stream done, I'll probably have a late lunch and get to work on the graphic novel I'm working on. One day, I've been meaning to. One day, I'll get into what it's like me as an inker to jump onto different projects that have different artists. As long as I have a handle on this artist or that artist, and I could switch back and forth between different gigs. It's frankly, you put in the hours. It's about not being bored. So I'll make that the topic for an upcoming video. And if you missed the beginning, I'm going to have an evening job that will improve my life, but also cut into my hours. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. I probably won't do a video for a week, but once I adjust to the new job, I'll probably be uploading videos at least. I'll probably get back to streaming later, but we'll see. We'll see how things pan out. But I will be active again on YouTube. Just take a little break so I can really schedule my workload better and organize my studio so that I'm on top of the gigs I should be on top of, and then start the new job and see how physically taxing it is. Because it won't be like sitting on my ass and inking. That's for sure. We'll be serving the town folk some eats. What exactly my duties will be, yada yada. See ya, Russ. Salazar says, I remember an interview in Wisdom Magazine. Spider-Man gave an interview. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Man, I love Wizard Magazine, and I miss it. It was so pop. It was like, it wasn't a meat and potatoes kind of magazine, but it was all like the hot stuff that was happening and whatnot. And I was fortunate enough to work for Wizard Magazine back in the day. Did a lot of they did like verses, this character versus that character, and inked a bunch of those pieces, and did some random inks on some just spot illustrations. Ink Mike Ringo, as he went by, um, for a bunch of illustrations he did for, I think it was for Inquest, their other sort of D&D magazine. So it was phenomenal to work on that um, legend. Yeah, he's passed away. He died young. Um, I was lucky enough to run into Ringo a couple of times and chatted with him at least once at a convention. Hell of a nice guy. Such a talent. His work was so tight. But I mean, hell, I've met so many artists and writers and other inkers and colorists. And one of the things I was hoping to do this year is to get out to a couple of conventions so I can catch up with everybody. But of course, this turned out to be the worst year for getting out. But I do plan to get to conventions again in the future when hopefully that does become a thing again. Because frankly, it's the only time to meet with other creators, other artists, meet new artists, new writers, new everything, painters, even. But especially the fans. Do it for the fans. So, I think I'll call it a day. Once again, I am probably going to take a week off just to sort of my new schedule upcoming. Then I'll be posting videos again, and I'll let you know at that point what sort of roughly my schedule will be. But I will be back on the YouTubes, and if you're interested in following, random drawings I do, mostly on Instagram, but I want to start posting stuff to Facebook and Twitter regularly too. I also got a studio page on Facebook, Human Art Studios, Peter Palmiotti. And of course, you can find me on YouTube and where else? LinkedIn, Pinterest. I don't know. I'm mostly regular on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Um, so you can find me in all those places. And before I go, let's see. So as I said, when I discovered Wizard, I bought every issue until I stopped seeing them at the stores. I wish they took care of them better, but nothing lasted long in my house either way. Just going to the comic shop here has been a hassle. One day they open, another day they close again. Hopefully they don't shut down though. See you later, Peter. Patron! Yes, become a patron. Support all artists, but you can support me on Patreon. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't. And check out all my other past videos. I'll probably open up the older videos sometime soon. I just wanted to get into a regular theme with the comics and art. But love you all, and talk to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye for now, and keep making art.